and lawmakers held a closed-door briefing here on Capitol Hill yesterday to discuss this operation in South America. And the big question this morning is whether this strike in Caracas will become a long-term strategic win for the United States or just a global conflict. We all saw the startling images yesterday of him being transported to the courthouse. Nicolas Maduro appeared in federal court in New York City Monday, pleading not guilty to sweeping narcoterrorism and drug trafficking charges. He told the judge he is innocent and a prisoner of war. Administration officials argue the mission stopped China, Russia, and Iran from expanding influence in Latin America, particularly over Venezuela's vast oil reserves. But critics warn the U.S. risks escalating tensions across the region, especially after President Trump said the U.S. is now, quote, in charge of Venezuela, a claim the State Department later walked back. Maduro's case is expected to take years to resolve, and lawmakers here say the legal and geopolitical consequences may last even longer.
Our understanding and my appreciation of this entire thing is it was completely authorized by law. It's well within Article 2, and now we're getting our Article 1 briefing exactly on the timetable as these are anticipated.
Why are we engaging in this kind of aggressive military behavior on behalf of big oil companies that make billions of dollars of profit each and every year at the same period of time when electricity bills in the United States of America are out of control?
Coming up on 6:45, and we are following new overnight developments of the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. So here are three things for you to know this morning. Number one, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says she does plan to return to Venezuela now that Maduro is no longer in power. She ran against him last summer and was forced into hiding. In October, she won the Nobel Peace Prize. Secondly, President Trump is doubling down that the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela, but did threaten more military attacks if Venezuela's new leader does not cooperate with U.S. officials. And lastly here, Venezuela has sworn in Maduro's Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez, as acting president as questions continue on what will happen next.
Meantime, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are demanding answers after that dramatic U.S. operation over the weekend to capture Maduro. And the big question this morning, was it legal? Straight Out Live reporter John Gonzalez on Capitol Hill with more on what we're learning. John, good morning again.
Adam, good morning. Lawmakers here on Capitol Hill held a 2-hour classified briefing behind closed doors with several Trump administration officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. As you can imagine, the entire focus was on that dramatic capture in South America over the weekend, and one that the Trump administration is calling a law enforcement operation, but one that is raising serious constitutional questions. Over the weekend, U.S. forces captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife, flying them to New York to face narco-terrorism charges. Maduro has pleaded not guilty, calling the operation a kidnapping and insisting he remains Venezuela's president. Supporters of the operation point to a long-standing U.S. indictment, an initial $25 million bounty, and Maduro's designation as a narco-terrorist, arguing the mission was legally justified, similar to the U.S. capture of Panama's Manuel Noriega decades ago.
This is a process that will take days, weeks, months, and likely years. And what I hope the focus of the U.S. government is on now is making sure that we parlay what was undoubtedly a tactical and operational success on Friday night into a strategic success. And that requires follow through in Venezuela. It requires the right type of governance in Venezuela.
Democrats here on Capitol Hill sharply disagree, saying Congress was bypassed. The administration insists congressional approval wasn't required, but lawmakers say this legal fight is just beginning in the courts and here on Capitol Hill. Reporting live, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
Now, the UN Security Council also sounding the alarm over the military action, calling it deeply concerning that rules of international law were not respected. He also expressed concern about future instability in the country that's dealt with political turmoil for decades.
Good morning, everybody.
Meantime, some people in Cuba are voicing concerns over the future of that island nation. This comes after the White House suggested the Cuban government could be next to fall following the ousting of Maduro. Venezuela is considered Cuba's closest ally, and Maduro's administration reliably supplied Cuba with oil in order to prop up the island's economy. It's unclear how Cuba will fill the gap left by Maduro's capture.